Is a bird, is a plane, it's the Tick. Hey y'all, welcome to another review, and our star show is The Tick. For those of you who don't know, The Tick is an Amazon Prime, and yeah, that's a thing right now, show based on the 19th comics and cartoon of the same name. Now, I gotta admit, when I started watching this show, I didn't know much about the Tick, but it had me hooked on pretty quickly. The show exists in a world where cartoon comic book heroes, and I mentioned my emphasis on cartoon heroes exist. Remember those quirky cartoons in the 90s where the good guys were overacted and the bad guys were too. Well, it's the same thing here with a twist, except that over the top craziness is based in our world in that show. And what would happen? Well, comedy got along with incredible storytelling. Now, the show has only one 12 episode season, with the second season being in the work, as far as I'm aware. Anyways, the story is set in modern day the city. And it follows Arthur, played by Griffin Newman, who as a kid got to see his father get killed when the good guys and the bad guys had one of their shenanigans, and his dad was killed by the terror. So fast forward 10 years later, and Peter works as an accountant, but he's secretly trying to find the terror to catch him. So I won't get into too much of the plot, but Arthur then meets a big blue guy called the Tick, and they get into all kinds of crazy adventures as they try to find the terror. That is the short, nutshell version of it. So, to start it off, let's talk about a few of the main characters. So, you should know that all of the cast play their roles brilliantly, and starting it off, we have Peter Serafinowicz. Sorry, I can't pronounce this guy's name, but he's the Tick. This guy talks in a way it's like you're watching a 90s cartoon, but it's real, and having a real person interacting with him is even cooler. Then up next we have Arthur, who I briefly mentioned earlier. Now Arthur is sort of like the guy who you expect is a normal person, and he's thrown into this crazy world now. He just wants to get out of it, and he wants to get back to his life. Up next we have Overkill, played by Scott Spicer. He's sort of a mix between Deadpool and Han Solo. This guy is awesome. Like, he's sort of like the anti-hero. As I said, he's sort of like Han Solo in that he knows I care, but I won't tell you I know I care. And last but not least, we have the Terror, played by Jackie Early Hale. So I won't get into too much about the Terror, but this guy plays the role so perfectly. Like, you feel like you are watching a 90s or 2000s cartoon, but you just love it. Not just for the nostalgia, but because it feels so real and so hilarious and so cool. So that's a few of the main characters I want to talk about, but there are so many others that are really awesome too. The Tick as a show really borrows heavily from many of the current TV shows, the MCU, and even Deadpool. But when you watch the show, you don't get the sense that they have overly copied into it. Instead, all these elements blend in perfectly and makes the story even better. It really does feel like a world where you have the normal world and the crazy cartoon place being in one. At no point did the story feel like it was over the top or ridiculous. It was fun to watch, so check it out. Thank you for tuning